Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a bitch off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired! Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a bitch off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired! Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a bitch off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired! But you know what's hurting the game more than that? When people like yourselves turn on television and you see those people taking the knee when they're playing our great national anthem. The only thing you could do better is, if you see it, even if it's one player, leave the stadium. I guarantee things will stop. Things will stop. Just pick up and leave. Pick up and leave. Not the same game anymore anyway. But you know what's hurting the game more than that? When people like yourselves turn on television and you see those people taking the knee when they're playing our great national anthem. But you know what's hurting the game more than that? When people like yourselves turn on television and you see those people taking the knee when they're playing our great national anthem.
I wanted to add also that on the back of the Liberty dime, on the back of the old dime in America, there was the fasci, which you look in the encyclopedia or dictionary and look up the word fascism, you'll see that the symbol for world fascism was a bundle of sticks or bundle of rods with a hatchet head. That was on the back of the
Well, you see that
dime.
on each side of the speaker's podium at Congress.
Oh, absolutely.
So they have the fasci on each side.
Absolutely, and it's also the symbol for the United States Senate is the fasci. But the point I want to make is that that was on the old dime. Now on the new dimes, you will see it has been transplanted a torch instead of the old fasci, because fascism was used at one time to prepare the world for the New World Order. Now the New World Order is in place. That's why on the dollar bill it says Novus Ordo Seclorum is New Order of the World, but at the top of the pyramid on the back of the dollar bill is Annuit Coeptus, which in Latin means our enterprise or our project has been crowned with success. So the point I want to make is that on the back of the American dime today, anyone can look at the back of the dime and see the torch of illumination, which is carried in the Olympics, which is the torch that the Statue of Liberty carries. It is the torch of the Illuminati, who are illuminated.
But what we need to do is explain this term New World Order, because do you realize how few people out there have actually heard George Bush and others use this occultic phrase that we're talking about, the New World Order? George Bush said it well over 200 times, and if you ask the average person on the street if they even heard it once, they'll answer no.
When Hitler talked about a 1,000-year Reich, and Bush talks about 1,000 points of light, there's more than just a small similarity. They are one and the same. We're talking about a fourth Reich of the rich, and that's what we're talking about with the New World Order. They want it all. And that
In Time magazine, we see the symbols on both sides of the speaker's podium where the president is standing. The point I'm making is that, yes, this is Time magazine with bin Laden on the cover. We're talking about the big enemy. The big enemy. I will assure you bin Laden is not the enemy. Let me show you what the enemy really is. But if you understand symbolism, Nazi, fascist symbolism, you will notice on each side of the presidential podium two interesting, perhaps 5-foot-high symbols on each side of the podium where the president stands. This is what is referred to as a fasci, a bundle of sticks with a hatchet head. Now, what is the importance of a fasci? This is a symbol of Nazi fascism. The stuff that so many good Americans went to war in Second World War to defend the free countries of the world against Nazis and fascists. And why is the symbol of Nazism, fascism, on the presidential podium where the president stands to give his State of the Union address? We see Roman fasces, the symbol of international fascism. Somebody better start waking up and finding out bin Laden is not our enemy. This man is not your enemy. Here is the enemy. The symbols of world fascism, Nazism, the mace itself. One needs to understand that in the United States Senate there is a symbol called the mace. This mace is a Nazi fascist symbol. It comes out of the ancient Roman Empire. The fasci symbols of the bundle of sticks with a hatchet head comes out of the Roman fascist system in Europe. So if we have an enemy, you can bet your bottom dollar, here is the enemy. There's this whole thing about bin Laden being the dirty, rotten enemy. I think before we jump on the bandwagon and believe anything that comes out of Washington, D.C., I mean, we have had over and over and over again proven to us the lies, deception, hypocrisy, the conspiracies against this country hatched in Washington, D.C. Anyone who knows anything about government, and I've spent 42 years, day in and day out, looking, researching, and studying occultism, conspiracies in government. And anyone who knows anything about the subject knows that Washington, D.C. is probably one of the most corrupt places on the face of the earth. There is more lies, deception, manipulation, exploitation, not just of the people of color, but for the whole entire world. The media in America are nothing more than lackeys for international banking cartels out of England. It's just a disgusting, and when I think about how many Americans were killed in New York City, and believing as I do that this thing was a setup job, because it's a textbook, as far as I'm concerned, this is a textbook operation that Nazis used, and they've used it over and over again. America has been suckered in one more time.
As you know, right now on Twitter, there is a trending retweet of yours. You retweeted somebody from Il Duce 2016. It was a Mussolini quote, but you didn't know it was Mussolini when you retweeted. It said, "It is better to live one day as a lion than 100 years as a sheep." That's a famous Mussolini quote. You retweeted it. Do you like the quote? Did you know it was Mussolini?
It's okay to know it's Mussolini. Look, Mussolini was Mussolini. It's okay to. It's a very good quote. It's a very interesting quote, and I know it. I saw it. I saw what, and I know who said it, but what difference does it make whether it's Mussolini or somebody else? It's certainly a very interesting quote.
Well,
that's probably why I have,
is a
between
known
Facebook
fascist.
and Twitter, 14 million people,
and
other people don't.
Do you want to be
associated? It's a very interesting quote, and people can talk about it.
Do you want to be associated with a fascist?
No, I want to be associated with interesting quotes. And people, you know, I have almost 14 million people between Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and all of that. Right. And we do interesting things. And I sent it out, and certainly, hey, it got your attention, didn't it?
Well, and it is trending on Twitter right now, Mr. Trump. I have to leave it there. Stay safe on the trail. We'll see you Super Tuesday. Could be a big night for you.
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order, where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause to achieve the universal aspirations of mankind: peace and security, freedom, and the rule of law.
Been talking about this for a long time. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Press.
It's fascism.
It's a flirtation with fascism in this country.
These are the sort of appeals that history has taught us oftentimes precede fascism.
I would just bomb those suckers.
All right, yeah, get them the hell out of here, will you, please? Get them out of here. Throw them out.
Maybe he should have been roughed up, because it was absolutely disgusting what he was doing.
Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? 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 It's like incredible. Total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States. When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're bringing crime, they're rapists. Negotiating with China, they say, we want deal.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs.
We're going to win a lot. If I get elected, we're going to win a lot. We're going to win so much. We will have so much winning if I get elected that you may get bored with winning. I'm only kidding. You never get tired of winning, right? We used to be brilliant. We used to be a brilliant country. We're not a brilliant country anymore. We're a foolish country. We're a dumb country. The American dream is dead.
The governorship is not salvation. And don't sell your soul for nothing that white folk offer you that compromises your dignity as a man. For you would go along with the government's unjust policies and open not up your mouth for political purpose. But I will speak against the injustice of America, because any man that dares to challenge the injustice of a nation is a man that saves the life of that nation. But those of you who go along with wickedness for the ride because it's politically expedient, You are the worst enemies of America.
So, Cornell, I want to talk to you about this last week. This young 10-year-old, very intelligent-looking young lady, a black young lady at a Pearland school who will not stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in her classroom. She doesn't want to stand up because apparently she believes that black Americans need a lot more to be done in this country. She is not willing to support the black Americans that have fought and died for this country. You know what I believe, Cornell? And I know you supported her publicly, but you know what I think? I think at 10 years old, she has no real understanding of what America is. So I wonder if her parents have sat her down and explained what Americans have given their lives, white, black, red. It doesn't make any difference. They stood and they fought and they died for this country, and she doesn't want to do anything to honor them?
Matt, she comes from a family of military service members. Her father is a retired military service member also who served this nation well with great dignity. She also has additional family members who was in the armed forces.
Good.
Her mother's a very intelligent woman who has had long conversations as well as her father about her not standing for the flag. What white people need to understand is
Just
that,
white people?
Yes, please. Let me explain. What white people need to understand is that that national anthem was written by Francis Scott Key, a slave owner.
Oh, here we go.
Who demonized and hated black slaves and black people. And that unwritten third, that unheard of and unspoken third verse, go research the third verse where he says, there's no refuge in this country for the hireling or the slave. Both should be turmoil to the grave.
How's her parents doing?
This is a man
Are they successful?
that promised turmoil for black people to the grave. Would you ask Jewish children to say a pledge to a German anthem that disrespects Jewish people?
If they're
No, you
living
would
in
not.
Germany,
No,
sure.
you would not.
Well, sure.
That disrespects Jewish people?
Then
No,
why,
you would not.
You certainly can kneel down. In America, you have the right to do that. But what will happen to her, how her friends will respond, how the school will view her, how Americans will view her is very negative.
And,
this is not what you want for your 10-year-old child.
And let me say to that young girl and others like that young girl, America looked at the same way at Rosa Parks when she refused to get up and give up her seat to a white man on the bus. But history vindicated her. History vindicated her. America demonized Harriet Tubman for freeing slaves from slavery, but history vindicated her. So I say to that young girl, you stand strong, stand up, and stand for what you believe in. And to all of those who are too coward to do it, don't get in that young girl's way. Others like her, support that young girl.
What would you like her to say to the men and women who have fought for this country like I ran into over the weekend? The black men and women who fought for this country and some who gave their lives.
And ask the black men and women who served America in its military, like in the Independence War. We helped America get it, and we were still slaves afterwards. Ask those in Vietnam who gave their war on Vietnam battlefields, but then came back and was called niggers in their own country. We have fought in America's war, and we've never been given the justice and the due process of everybody else in this nation.
Then
so
why don't you move to a different country? Why are you staying here if you don't like it?
Let me tell you why. Because the country belongs to Indians. You white folks stole it from them, raped and robbed their people. This not your country. You all came over here and stole it and beat the hell out of them. So this not your country.
It was my country.
You all need to go home.
If you're
you
not
all need to go back where you came from.
If you don't like it, why don't you pack up and go?
Let the Indians decide who should pack up and go. And I guarantee you black folks will stay, and you all will be on the first damn boat leaving here. So don't try that, brother. You all didn't make America. This is not your country.
What you should do is sit down with someone who has fought for this country, Cornell. Get their opinion, too.
Tons of black people have, and what have we gotten from it?
for children who depended upon their daddy on a daily basis.
They killed my boyfriend. He's licensed. He's licensed to carry. He was trying to get out his ID and his wallet out his pocket, and he let the officer know that he had a firearm and he was reaching for his wallet, and the officer just shot him in his arm. We're waiting for a back. I will, sir. No worries. I will. Fuck! He just shot his arm off. We got pulled over on Larpener.
I told him not to reach for it. I told him to get his hand out.
You told him to get his ID, sir, and his driver's license. Oh my God, please don't tell me he's dead. Please don't tell me my boyfriend just went like that.
Keep your hands where they are, please.
Yes, I will, sir. I'll keep my hands where they are. Please don't tell me this, Lord. Please, Jesus, don't tell me that he's gone. Please don't tell me that he's gone. Please, officer, don't tell me that you just did this to him.
I'm at the Rivers in there, pawn shop. Where you at now? 223, get that shots fired. Subject get down.
In that exclusive interview from this man's hospital bed, the behavior therapist says he complied with all officers' demands, put his hands up in the air, but he was shot anyway. Charles Kinsey laid in the middle of the road on his back, his hands in the air. North Miami police aimed their rifles at him. Listen as he yells to the officers he is a therapist and was trying to help a confused autistic man who wandered away from a group home. Kinsey says he complied with the officers' demands.
When I went to the ground, I'm going to the ground just like this here with my hands up. And I'm laying down here just like this. And I'm telling him again, sir, it's no need for a firearm. I'm unarmed. He's an artistic guy. He had a toy truck in his hand. When he hit me, I'm like, I still got my hands in the air. I said, no, I just got shot. And I'm saying to myself, I'm like, sir, why did you shoot me? And his words to me, he said, I don't know.
Wolfboro Police Commissioner, a man by the name of Robert Copeland, he used a racial slur to attack President Obama, and yeah, you know which racial slur it was. It was the N-word. But not only was that not bad enough, then he decided to double down and defend his use of the N-word. We've got a quote. This is an email that he sent. He said, I believe I did use the N-word in reference to the current occupant of the White House. For this, I do not apologize. He meets and exceeds my criteria for such. While I believe the problems associated with minorities in this country are momentous, I am not phobic.
Copeland was silent during last night's town meeting, but when a group of residents confronted him in the parking lot afterwards, he made no apologies.
I admitted what I did. I made no bones about it.
You ever try to find a bruise on a nigger? Pretty tough, huh? It's not like you're really listening to their words, because you key on what's the truth and what isn't. First thing, anything out of a nigger's mouth for the first 5 or 6 sentences is a fucking lie. Fight or fuck around with the police, when you do what you're told, you understand, nigger?
My conscience won't let me go shoot my brother or some darker people or some poor hungry people in the mud for big powerful America and shoot them for what? They never called me nigger. They never lynched me. They never put no dogs on me. They never robbed me of my nationality, raped and killed my mother and father. What, I'm going to shoot them for what? How am I going to shoot them? Them little poor little black people, little babies and children and women. How can I shoot them poor people? I would just take me to jail.
Ali more than held his own against students who had a far better formal education than he.
I'm not going to help nobody get something my Negroes don't have. If I'm going to die, I'll die now, right here fighting you. You my enemy. My enemy is the white people, not Viet Congs or Chinese or Japanese. You my opposer when I want freedom. You my opposer when I want justice. You my opposer when I want equality. You won't even stand up for me in America for my religious beliefs, and you want me to go somewhere and fight, but you won't even stand up for me here at home.
Melania Trump was seen giving her husband a sharp reminder in etiquette on Monday at the White House Easter egg roll. The First Lady nudged her husband's hand to remind him to place it on his heart as they listened to the national anthem on the Truman balcony with their son Barron. Her not-so-subtle gesture was caught on news cameras positioned on the lawn below. Eagle-eyed viewers picked up on it and took to Twitter to both ridicule and lampoon the president for the faux pas. "Look at this. Melania had to nudge him to get him to raise his arm during the national anthem. Hopeless," said one. "Nudge, nudge, cringe, cringe." Melania reminds POTUS to put hand over his ... over space believed to cover human heart, another remarked. The traditional Easter event brought most of the president's expansive family to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue on Monday. The elegant First Lady, dressed in a pale pink dress and matching slip-on shoes, read to children on the South Lawn, as did Press Secretary Sean Spicer. Mrs. Trump also gave some rare public remarks.
This Illuminati.
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order, where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause to achieve the universal aspirations of mankind: peace and security, freedom, and the rule of law.